Today marks 1162nd day sharing lessons I learn and continue to learn with all of you. My hope that these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and will empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about wars and battles inside of us. Sometimes we are not aware of them, sometimes they are very silent, but those wars, those battles that are happening inside of us is shaping our relationships, our choices, our decisions, our life in so many different areas. In finances, in health, in emotions, in mental capacity, with all those things. So that means that there's a lot of battles that if you're not aware and if you're not focusing on winning those battles, we might be that we are losing. Because negativity comes easily, but about positivity, about great things, that is manual. So that means that for today we'll think about really how to win those battles and what kind of battles do we need to be intentionally and winning those battles. I think that the first battle that we always need to think about is that the war between who you are and what you pretend to be. I think sometimes we need to really think about it. Who needs to validate us? And that the most important person who needs to validate and approve us is me, you. That means that we need to approve ourselves. And I think that is great saying that I am doing everything by myself, so I need to approve myself. And your approval is just extra. Your validation is just extra. It's not necessary. It's just as a bonus. Because I think that we sometimes want to have that image. But if we pursue that image of ourselves, not true authenticity, we lose both. We lose the image and we lose authenticity because true image is proof of authenticity, and true authenticity is understanding who we truly are and the best version of ourselves. I think that knowing who we are and then developing that who we are to the best version of who we are, that is a true picture because I think that it's very important to understand that who we are is not stuck, is not fixed. Who we are is something that is moldable, transformable, could be able to evolve. And I think that winning the battle is choosing to show up as true selves, as vulnerable, even though it's risky, but be able to achieve much more with true authenticity rather than really looking for approval by putting some kind of fake mask on ourselves. Second war, and I think that is a very important war to really win, is between growth and comfort. Really, this is a battle. I think that when I think about that, so that means that the war is that it's much easier to really pursue something that is comfortable. But if we really want growth, that means that that requires change, that requires effort, that requires action, requires uncertainty. There's a lot of things that really makes us feel that we're living in some kind of maybe even house because uncertainty is that means that you going into to the moments into the places that you've never been before. Of course, if you've never been in some place, you will have uncertainty because sometimes we always want to have that certainty, but almost impossible to have certainty in growth period because the growth is in uncertain period. So that means we need to always seek because comfort feels cozy, comfortable, safe, and we want to be safe. But I think that the biggest war that we need to win, we need to really win that war when we're able to be comfortable when we feel uncertain, uncomfortable. I think that's is the comfort zone when we're choosing long-term reward. Long-term reward because choosing short-term ease or long-term reward. And I think that when we start choosing long-term reward, I think that it's much easier to choose the growth instead of comfort. The third, I think that is a battle all the time is that fear and courage. And this is a beautiful thing that when I think about fear and courage, I always visualize those thoughts in our head. And every single thought creates a warrior. Every single thought that you think creates a warrior. It could create that warrior in the fear, or it could create that warrior in courage. Now, probably ever heard that most people think about 80% of thoughts are negative thoughts. So that means that what we do is that we're creating 80% of our thoughts into and put those thoughts into fear warriors, into fear, creating that massive army of fear thoughts. And we have that Sometimes even less, maybe only 5% of our thoughts are uplifting, courageous, confident thoughts. And now, at some point, when you really want to pursue something meaningful, something courageous, we're looking into that very small army comparing to that massive, massive army of negative thoughts and that fear thoughts. So, what we need to do? How we really need to win that battle, that war between fear and courage? How to make really those bold actions when our courage army is such a small army comparing to that fear army? So, what to do? We have two options. We need to kill those fear army and really start not allowing them to come in anymore, or we need to uplift our army of courage. So really start looking at how we can really have more courageous thoughts. And that means surrounding with other people, or surrounding myself with mentors, reading courageous books, reading the elevating ideas. And at some point, when we do that, we reduce some fear army, improve our courage army, and at some point be able to really take those bold actions. And every single time we need to take those bold actions, we're able to really make things happen. And it's interesting because those that army that is in fear, we don't feed them anymore. They're weak. And the army of courage, we able to nurture them, they develop them and improve them. And of course, even that smaller army of courageous soldiers are able to overpower that weak, unnurtured fear thoughts. It's very, very powerful. And that's why we need to win that. Because I think that if you can't, you must. I think that love this saying that if you can't, you must. It means that we want to make sure that fear doesn't own us. Because I think that a lot of times what we do in life, we allow our fear to own our life because the fear is stopping us from really moving forward. And I think that, as I said, be able to do remove fears from insecurities and be able to improve our courage just to make sure that we're able to take those bold actions. Number 4, I think this is very, very work hands in hand, is that the war between self-doubt and self-belief. And again, those warriors that I mentioned before, it works as well. We can really create self-doubt warriors, or we can create self-belief warriors. And I think that the more we act from self-belief, the more results we get, and those results will create self-belief. Because I really love those circles. It says that when you believe in yourself, you have better attitude. The better attitude will lead to better actions, and the better actions lead to better results, and the better results lead to better action, better belief of yourself. And that means that the better belief of yourself leads to better attitude. The better attitude leads to better actions, and the better actions lead to better results. And it means it circles every single time, and you go up above and above and above, and you have more of it. But exactly happens with self-doubt. When you have self-doubt, it has a like pretty bad attitude. The bad attitude leads to bad actions. Bad actions lead to bad results, and the bad results lead to more self-doubt. More self-doubt leads to more less better, worse attitude, and then that leads to worse actions, and those worse actions lead to worse results. So that means that you can lead in both ways. We need to really break the cycle of the self-doubt and move it to the doubt to self-belief cycle. And if you start to see that, okay, I have been in this cycle for a long time, and being aware of the cycle, we need to break that cycle. And we can really improve our attitude, that could improve our actions, and I think that this could be one of the great places to start. Okay, let's remove that self-doubt, move to self-belief. Let's improve our attitude. Let's allow that attitude to improve our actions, and those actions will of course bring better results. That's why it's so important. Number 5 is the war between reaction and intention. This is a very, very powerful. I think that's we live so many times in reaction mode. We live, something happens, we react. Something happens, we react. Something happens, we react. And that's how we live. We live in reaction mode. Everything is reactive. I think that's something we need to say, that how to slow down myself, that I can become intentional. I really love a book by John C. Maxwell, Intentional Living. I really love what he says, that no one end up on the mountaintop by accident. You need to be intentional about climbing mountains. You need to be intentional about becoming great. You need to be intentional about making things happen. So I mean, it's rather than reacting in life and just doing life based on what happens in front of you, really being intentional about your growth plan, about improving yourself, who you want to become, what kind of things you want to achieve, and really being intentional about your life. I think this is a war because life wants you to be reactive. Just take action, take one step at a time. And that's how it's supposed to be. But I think that again, everything in life is supposed to be because everything is beneficial for you. Fear is beneficial when you have a little bit doubt. It could be a little bit as well because you want to improve. That even that reactive something that is beneficial a little bit when you have a little bit of it. Because you need to react something, so you need to take actions for something. When something happens, urgency, you need to have the reaction. But majority of things, 99% of things, needs to be intentional, created. And you know that this is exactly what I thought my life would look like. And when you intentionally based plan, I think that's much more beautiful when you're able to really create that winning plan for our life and know exactly what, because when you have the clarity, you move much, much faster. I love the analogy is that intention and clarity. If you do not know where you're going when you react, it's like driving the car in the fog and you just don't know where you're going and you drive very, very slow. But when you know that intention, when you have that clarity, it's like driving a car in a straight road in a beautiful day, blue skies, and you just drive very fast. And I think that's the beautiful analogy. That's what it is when you live between reaction in life and intention in life. Number 6 war is that the war between the past, maybe even the future, and the present. I think that this is a very important, and this is a daily war. Making sure that wherever you are, be there. That's what Jim Rohn says, that wherever you are, be there. Very powerful saying. That means that when you're at work, be 100% at work and allocate 100% of work. If you are with family, be 100% with your family. If you're with a friend, be 100% a friend. I think that we want to type to someone else. When you be with someone, we type to someone else. That means that you're not 100% there. Even though your body is in one place, your mind might be totally different. So it means be present is being able to be present, be able to be in one place with your body, with your soul, with your mind, with your mental, with your emotions. Say be in one spot and one spot only. This is again skill set and the war that we need to really be mindful of and be able to win that war, to be able to be present every single moment. I think that is much more joyful to live that way because future creates anxiety, past creates some shame, guilt, or whatever emotions. So when you are present, you have poised emotions. In the past and the future, might bring some emotion that you do not need at the moment. And I love the question is that when you are in the past, when you think about the future, you're always able to ask the question that really brings to present what I'm able to do now. What I'm able to do now. And you're able to bring everything. So if you did mistakes in the past, ask what I could do now. If you want to think about the future, the big success, what I can do now about it. So that question really brings to the present. Really beautiful question. Number 7 is the war between house and discipline. I think that we need to really learn how to really create discipline in our life. I think that sometimes we just live in house and this and this and this and this. We want that emotion, motivation, and everything. But I think that when we really look into removing all those distractions, removing all the procrastination, disorganization, and really start to really say that I want to live a life full of discipline, full of simplicity, full of growth, full of peace. I think we'll be able to win the war of so many things because discipline brings so many things: freedom, growth, opportunities, peace. And we allow house, distractions, everything to come into our lives. So many things are byproduct disappears of our life as well. And of course, it brings a lot of negativity. And again, this is a very important war to win. Discipline, being able to really remove all the house and really focus on creating more. And again, I love the analogies that we have house soldiers and we have disciplined soldiers. Which army will win? Because we want to make sure that that disciplined army destroys all the house. And the last thing that I want to mention is that really the war between ego and soul, or between the flesh and soul, the between flesh and spirit. I think that's such a powerful war to win as well, because what our flesh wants is different what our spirit wants. What our ego wants and what our soul wants is sometimes is told different things. And I think that being able to really focus on what our soul wants. I think it's important to really take care of both of them needs, but again, this is like a Pareto rule that 20%, 80%. It's great to take care of your worldly needs and desires, but at the same time, but what you're able to really pursue with bigger than yourself, transcend yourself and soul needs. I think it's such a powerful thing. Such a powerful thing. And I think that when I think about ego, I think that the ego wants to be right, want to win. Those in the sense is not bad things. But I think that when you start to look into what soul wants, and then soul wants to serve, it wants to evolve, it wants to give, it wants to grow. And I think about if you are right by serving other people, I think that is a great thing. But if you want to be right and take away from other people and destroy other people, I think that's a wrong thing. And I think that when we really seek serving, when we think about serving, evolving, and adding value to people, and that moment you are right, I think that is a great thing. That means that you are able to really improve your soul and improve your ego at the same time. Just where that intention is coming from, that's probably the biggest war that you need to have to win. Where is that intention is coming from? Because if it's coming from soul, I think that it's a beautiful thing, because ego a lot of times come from short-term goals, short-term pleasures, but soul always have long-term pleasures. Sometimes there is a mismatch between long-term goals and short-term goals. And when we really pursue short-term goals aligned with long-term goals, we always will win. And that's the war we need to win. So hope that inspires you to reflect as well. What kind of wars inside of you? What kind of wars inside of you that you have? And what kind of war do you want to win? And then, of course, probably you have heard 1,000 times that there is a saying that there's two wolves in your mind, and one is negative wolf and one is positive wolf. And it's that asking question like, which wolf will win? And the answer is always the wolf that you will feed, that the wolf will win. And I think that this exactly is like with my very simple, almost exactly identical analogy. The army that will win will be the soldiers that will create. And I think that it's very, very important to understand that your choices, which part you will nurture, because every single day we make choices, and those choices, in one way or another, nurture one side or another. So if you feel that you have a lot of self-doubt or fear, that means that we need to change our habits and start creating. We're not, again, one of the biggest things that a lot of times people want to really move from fear to be courageous, from not being able to speak from in front of one person, want to be speaking in front of 15,000 people. That's not how it works. I truly believe that if you're afraid of speaking in front of person, so let's really create those very small incremental improvements that we can move from fear to courage. But we really move that one thing at a time, one small warrior at a time. And I think that that's where true success lies when you think about really winning that war. Because to win that war, we need to really choose those battles. And we need to choose those battles, smaller battles, and increase those battles, bigger and bigger and bigger battles, until we're finally able to win that war. And probably we'll never win that war, but if we be choosing to win those battles, bigger and bigger battles, we'll be able to achieve the great success. I think that's where the true success lies. So I hope you will reflect on that, and I hope you'll choose to win, and see you tomorrow.